Hello everyone and welcome to RWB International. We are here today for the Tatuus F4 series using RaceRoom as a part of slightly broadening the RWB theme spectrum. After many ACC series, we decided to slightly switch it around for the main Saturday events. And so, there are about 6 events that are gonna be here for us in the Tatuus F4 around many circuits around the world. Currently, we are starting off the season on Mid-Ohio Sports Cars course, a smaller track located, as you would have guessed, in the state of Ohio, USA, slightly away from the village of Lexington. The track that has hosted many series known to the world, such as the IMSA series or the IndyCar, and today it's the smaller of the Formula series, the F4s. It is me, RaceRoom, commentating for you, and with me it's my good mate SRT Porsche.
Hello folks, it's me again. Yeah, it's gonna be a good night tonight, especially in the Tatuus F4s.
Well, so we are currently following the fastest guy that we have on track, Jake Moore. Those that have been watching us for some time and all of our series know that Jake is usually one of the fastest guys, always at the top of the leaderboards. But they're sitting on a nice 26.096, 3/10 ahead of the closest guy that's chasing him, which would be Kieran Prendergast. See if he can maybe get closer to challenge for the pole position. And we have other names that are returning to the series. Names that you would know, such as Jack Alexander, Nigel Wood, Marco Badowski. All of them household names on RWB. And some of the newer names, maybe not known to the ACC part of the stream, such as Giorgio Minga or Steve Maz, and all of them looking to make themselves a name in the ACC, in the RaceRoom side of the RWD club.
Yeah, well, it looks like this race should be interesting for the first round of the Tatuus F4s. But folks, I'm going to give you some info as it's the first race of the season on the Tatuuses. So, the Tatuus F4 car is designed to basically help people that stepped up from go-karting, like racing in road taxis or X30s, into these single seaters, which are designed to basically give people a sense of what an F1 car feels like, a low power, more handling base, a bit easier. So it's more like a junior series in the world of motor racing. But yeah, so I'm just having a look here. So it's currently used in the F4 series in the UK and in Italy. I believe there's a lot of other places as well. But yeah, they've used a Tatuus since 2016 and plan to use it for furthermore. So it's a world known car, I guess, if we want to put it that way. But should be interesting tonight. See all these drivers try and cope to such a car, helped on momentum and just general good lines, keep the speed up and the revs.
Well, it's definitely probably the smallest of the Formula family that has any downforce generated by the wings or anything. If you discount, let's say, the Formula 4 then likes, they are just glorified cars.
Yeah, I mean, it's developed, especially with the low engine power that it puts out. I'll try and flick it up, but I believe that it's not that much horsepower. I'm guessing around 400. Actually, hold on. Yeah, so I'm just having a look at the engine. It says that it's got around 270 horsepower. Let me just quickly. Actually, no. Sorry, folks. I'm looking at the wrong one. Yeah, so basically, a Tatuus F4 has 160 horsepower, but it's kind of made up because it's really lightweight body and chassis. Really makes up for all the power not having in the car. But it's a 6-speed gearbox, and yeah, it's got a carbon fiber monocoque. So interesting stuff.
Those that horsepower is gonna be probably well enough to give the drivers something to play with. Certainly, the F4 was chosen purely on the merit of it being not so hard to just get into and drive, as the series is mostly meant to be a enjoyment for the people, so they don't have to like drive for the entire week trying to learn, let's say, the Formula One version of the car that is on RaceRoom, and mostly just struggle with the speed compared to probably the aliens that we have that will just jump into the car, do 10 laps, and already be up to speed.
Yeah, I mean, this series is like a bit like the on Thursday nights, RWB has a rookie night where all the pros join and a bunch of rookies like myself join, and basically we just see who can improve or what. So last week we had Sam Board in the GT3s, and that was very interesting. It was a good race, I believe. I only managed to do the first race, but hopefully that race can be good as this. And we see we are on a board with Kieran Prendergast, who is currently just a tiny bit off our leader. Well, not, yeah, just a tiny bit off. About 3/10, so not much.
Yeah, still chasing Marco Jake Moore, who has set the benchmark. Some of you may notice that our resident ACC alien Radek Shula is not here, so title is gonna be up for grabs for basically anyone who has good consistency and definitely lots of speed.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Radek Shula won the Clash of Warriors season. I believe it was 2 weeks ago, this night, that he won the series, and let's just say he drove phenomenal. Yeah, he literally obliterated the whole series, won Laguna Seca by a mile. Actually, probably is a mile, I won by, but and like, it was like he was more than 40 seconds from second place, so that's a massive, yeah, big thing.
Yeah, we are hoping that a slightly different sim may produce. Well, we weren't shy of fights for the lead in the ACC series, but
Yeah,
when you have someone dominating for so long, it's hard to find something over them. But we shall see what the drivers have in store for us today. Here, I'm still trying to find something on Jake Moore, but looks like the Racing Sim Tools esports driver is currently bulletproof and on a really great lap time.
yeah,
As we just finished the qualifying, so it is Jake Moore taking the first pole position of the Tatuus F4 series, followed by Kieran Prendergast, who's gonna line up alongside with him, and then Clive Brittain in third, Jack Alexander fourth, followed by Mark Badowski, Dave Crew, Steve Maz, Nigel Wood, John Deef, and Phil Varley rounding out our top 10 for the race 1.
Well, folks, the first race is about to start, and yeah, as what's it? Our friend Racer Soul said, P1 is Jake Moore, and it should be an interesting one, especially in these Tatuus F4s.
The short warm-up session currently in progress, just to give the drivers maybe a little bit of last time breaks to run out of the room, get something to drink, go to the toilets, and do anything that you need to do before the race.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice warm-up that people can have. When was the last time we raced on RaceRoom as RWB? I believe, I don't know, was it the Thursday series?
Yeah, that was the first day series.
The RDTT Cup, which I actually commentated on, so I do remember. But yeah, that was a great night, great 4-race series. I highly encourage anybody to join it. It was mixed with a short quali series with a 20-minute race and a 40-minute second race. And let's just say the 20-minute race was like a sprint race for the big race. It was funny. It was a good laugh, and a lot of people learned stuff because it was a fixed setup, and it all relied on driving lines and all that.
But speaking of the race setup, so this time around we had our 50-minute qualifying session, and in store are 2 40-minute races with no mandatory pit stop. And the grid for race 2 is gonna be set up from the finishing order of the race 1. And similar as in the Audi Cup, we still have default setups. So probably just for people to get the hang of the cars and everything, and to maybe even out the grid slightly.
Well, the warm-up's about to end. We have 40 seconds left of this warm-up. Not much going on, just people wanting to see what they can do.
Probably those who did not have enough during the qualifying, trying those last minutes adjustments, maybe different fuel loads, and get to feel of the car, how it handles on maybe slightly heavier fuel.
Yeah.
Or just wanting to drive that little bit more.
Right. So, as we're seeing now, not much going on. As we said, warm-up's finished, so we will sign to get on the grid. My nose is a bit bunged up tonight. I apologize for that one, but it should be pretty cool this start of the race. And people on the grid for the start of the Formula RWB, aka the F4 Tatuus. Yeah, race assault. What were you expecting for the start of this race? What's going to happen?
I'm expecting clean start from these people, even though it's only 40-minute race. You know, just get through the first corners, get through it cleanly, and then it's just everyone for themselves.
Yeah.
Let's see, the lights are on. As the cars are moving and we are racing at mid-Ohio, and looks like okay start for Jack Moore, but Pendergast has managed to pull alongside, and in front of him, taking the lead from the second position. Jack Moore will have to slot in directly behind him, and fights going on between Jack Alexander and Clive Brittain for the P3 position side by side. Into second turn we go, usually the turn 1 for IndyCar starts or other starts at mid-Ohio. Now around the outside, Jack Alexander tries to go, but he has to take onto the grass, and then he's gonna slow him down and leave him vulnerable to Dave Crew and Marco Badowski. 3 wide we go into the kink that you can see usually is the starting line for some events. For ease of use, the guys don't go 4 wide, that is not gonna work here, as down the inside tries to go what looks to be Nigel Wood. And somehow they managed to survive all of them. We have 1 car across that looks to be Rick Binnersley, who is now falling down the grid.
Rick Binnersley has gone off, as we said. It's not looking so good for a few people out there, because there's been a few touches and nudges, but hopefully it could be a clean race and it can be lots of battles. But yeah, we can see two Italians. One's at the top, I believe, or Clive. Wait, is it Italian or is it?
No, that's Irish.
Oh, jeez. My Discord.
Mamma mia, cazzo di pizza.
Yeah, my Discord is lagging out like mad, so I can't really see it very well. But
we
yeah.
have Italian of Giorgio Minga currently in P21.
Yeah, but Brake Bennisley didn't get the best of starts. I don't know if he started back near there, but we saw him go off of it.
But now Jake Moore does not seem to be happy about losing his position so early at the start, and Pendergast tried to defend, and in all of that missed his braking point, ran wide, and they just allowed Jake Moore to get on with it, take the inside, and back into the lead he goes. And Pendergast will have to think of something really fast, because if the pace Jake Moore showed in qualifying is something to go off, he's just gonna run away with this race. Let's not jump in before we are there.
Well, we're going to be on board with Clive Brennan now as he's following closely behind Pendergast, if I'm correctly saying that, Prendergast. But yeah, Clive is going to go on to this lap as we quickly change to Rick Bennisley, trying to fight his way through the pack. What's it? I remember trying to drive these cars, and sometimes they're a little bit nippy, sometimes they're a little bit heavy. Depends on the day, the conditions. Sometimes it depends on how you're feeling. As we see, who's that going off? FX UK. We see going off. Who else is that?
That's FX, and I think Charge both losing it. Charge, our resident admin, and could we say mascot of the RWB usually? And FX, our resident website editor and creator. Both of them finding the gravel at the outside of turn, and we have more cars going around. And looks to be John D, no?
I'm not quite sure. It could be. No, it's not John D. So basically, what it is the bottom guy is always the.
BGB British.
Yeah, in the Castrol Edge car.
Well, few excursions on the track showing that the cars are not so friendly to the drivers, and neither is the circuit. As you can see, is old, classic circuit that everyone dreams about. Just a little bit of curb, grass, and just the walls around you. And it is just a small, fun circuit, I would say. One of the more enjoyable older tracks. Though overtaking opportunities are sparse at some points.
Yeah.
But definitely a little bit of challenge to the drivers. Fights are still going on. Pinpoint currently pressuring Flag, and Flag just deciding to take the easy way out of the fight and goes off track. Now Rick Binnersley on his way back towards the top positions, or the top 10 positions, where he was around the outside of Madal into turn 1.
Oh, jeez.
And beautifully done. Al has nothing to defend with right now, and we have to concede the position. And also look behind, because looks to be Giorgio Minga behind him, being really, really close.
Yeah. Jack Alexander now reviewing P4 in the blue car. We've got a mountain. It looks like Mountain Dew for some reason, but that is crew on the back of him, trying to get the exit to get it, but looks like Alexander's going to be pulling away a little bit. Alexander nearly was on a close battle to win the Clash of Warriors series, but Radek Schuler absolutely dominated it. But yeah, he was definitely in the top 3. I think he might have got second in the series, but a very good driver, very talented.
Well, but Schuler not here right now. Someone who is here. Oh, Aaron Jones slightly losing the car, swiping across what looks to be RWB Charger, and you can just see that the fighting is non-stop in this pack that is around here. Side by side they go into the final corner, tricky section where you are just trying to coast the car all the way through towards the apex. Here is Phil Warley on the outskirts of the top 10, chasing Rigel right now, trying to get a better exit, and better exit he does, goes for the right hand side. Rigel could not close the door fast enough. And this is now a drag race towards the turn, whatever the number is. I don't know right now, but Phil has the inside line. Let's see, maybe can he stay on there, but the Rigel goes nicely around the outside and is gonna turn to the inside to this really awkwardly cambered corner, and Phil still remains around there. Now just closes off Rigel, takes the position back. Now Rigel also should be scared because he is now RWB Audi directly behind him. And Audi was also eyeing out the opportunity, a door that would be left open for him to get around. But they still keep it close. And Rigel is thinking now of rewarding Phil or returning the serve as Phil slightly mounts the curb, goes onto the grass, the car twitches for him. And now leaves him vulnerable into turn 1. Maybe Rigel will try at least, he will not poke the nose down there. But he keeps it in the slipstream directly behind. Maybe there will be an opportunity down the inside into the hairpin, but Phil covers the inside line and leaves Rigel no opportunity to just maybe try a late move on the outside, but Phil takes a shallow line that just washes him out of the corner. Allows Rigel to slightly go down the inside, but Phil manages to get a good exit out of the corner. And back we go where we were a lap ago. Now in the slipstream, the yellow car, the red car, and the what looks to be more black car. Phil still defends, but down the inside goes Audi on Rigel. Rigel did not expect that, definitely, as he was looking more forwards than backwards. And it all just culminated in Audi trying to move down the inside. But it seems like the outside for that corner is the preferable line. And through the final section we go. This train still continues as we have car in the pit lane that looks to be Alexander? Yeah, Jack Alexander in the pit lane, and that is...
Yeah. Ooh, Phil Varley has got a slowdown penalty, track limits abuse. Slowdown penalty, but that's because of track limits.
Okay, probably run wide at some point or just cut the course slightly. And the game just rewards you with a nice time that you need to slow down to give back the positions gained. So he loses all that he fought for the past few laps, and he has to do all of that work yet again. He's maybe eyes up Audi now for the inside line. But as you see, the outside through this corner is slightly preferable, not only because the left-hander is coming, but looks like the camber of the corner just helps you stay there and keep up the speed. But I'm not sure what happened to Jack Alexander. Looks like, yeah, he is continuing, but maybe some damage or contact that he needed to come into the pit lane and stop.
Yeah, getting rid of damage is necessary, especially in a small race. I mean, if you've got tons of damage in a small race, you can't really gain much time if you've got it. So it's necessary to get rid of it so you can keep getting time.
Meanwhile, up at the front, Jake Moore has built quite a lead. After he regained the position from Kieran, they were slightly close at some point, but looks like Jake has just put on his running shoes and is just driving away into the sunset, 2 seconds ahead of these two. As Clive Brittain is just looking onto Prendergast. And no opportunity there as of now, but Clive is just eyeing opportunities, trying to be in the rearview mirrors of Kieran. trying to just maybe scare him, pressure him into any kind of mistake that he can find. With slightly twitching goes Kieran through the corner. This might give the better run to Britain. Although the next section is a winding set of corners. Britain will have to just stay behind for now. But any move, any mistake like that is gonna result in quite a chance for Klein, definitely. As we can see, here is currently Jack Alexander, where he can find himself in P17 in front of RWB Marco after the pit stop that was, well, interesting to say the least. And some fights are brewing right here. As Giorgio Minga trying to defend himself as much as he can from Liam Dams. Liam currently has the inside line into turn 1, but will Minga be able to hang it around the outside? He will not, and that is Dams. Currently up a position into P13 as we see a drive-through penalties come up for a few drivers. Presumably for track limit violations. Oh no, drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane for Nigel Wood. For him to go through the pit lane at some point and speeding in, that's not getting better for him. But now side by side we go, Giorgio Minga trying to reclaim the position back from Liam Dams. But then holds the inside, Minga tries to swing around the outside, turns into the inside for the next left-hander. Dams leaves the door open for any opportunistic attack that Minga would have tried to launch. But now looks like Dams has the position firmly in his hands, and Minga will now have to look back at RWB Flak, who is slowly creeping in onto him.
Oh, jeez. Well, folks, right now we're watching RWB Audi chasing down Rigel in that position for 7th. What is the gap between those two? Because I cannot see right now.
Well, the gap is not important right now as they are close to each other. Side by side they go into the right hand. A little bit of contact seems to be between Audi and Rigel. Rigel manages to keep the position currently in front, but you don't want to be doing too much door banging in open wheelers, as it usually does not go good for, well, at least one side of the party. Usually it goes bad for both. But they managed to get away with it this time around. Rigel is under pressure definitely from Audi, you can feel it. Rigel or Audi just slowly creeping in under him, taking a really shallow line, taking all of the curb he can through the final corner, trying to get maybe better exit into turn 1. But nothing right now. Staying in the slipstream and eyeing out any possible overtaking maneuvers that would present themselves later on. Through the hairpin, they go onto the back straight. Maybe it's trying to get slightly below the slipstream, but Audi is a little bit too far at the moment. Marco is falling down the order as BGB British is currently silencing him for a move. Down the inside into the hairpin, an easy maneuver for a British to say the least. The maneuver is also happening in front of them as Jack Alexander has caught up to Giorgio Minga. Maybe he will be looking for the inside line to the next corner. Minga does not give it to him. Alexander goes really, well, not wide, but to the left hand side onto the white line. They will try to crisscross maybe around Minga, who has to take all of the defensive lines. As you could see, Alexander could have gotten on the power, but just the red F4 was in his way and he could not put the power down. Otherwise he would probably even collide with Minga in front of him. And Alexander has to stay in his position for the time now. But for how long can Minga keep him there? When that's grass there for Jack Alexander, that's not gonna help his run, definitely. Is that drive to penalty for Jack, did I see?
Possibly. It's not clear on my screen, but...
Neither on mine. So I'm just trying to decipher what do I see through the pixels. But whatever it is, it does not differ from Jack's. Oh, really close there it was from me, who went onto the curb and the car slightly bounced almost towards the inside of Alexander. And there is Jack out of position after, you could say, unforced error from Giorgio. Now it is about P14 for Alexander currently. Hey, I can see it was just a slow down penalty for track limits abuse. And still Clive Brittain behind Kieran Prendergast. Clive has not managed to find a way around the P2 man as of now. And one would wonder how long can he stay behind and if he can mount a challenge, because the pace between both of them seems to be quite close. Another pair that is really close is Marco Badowski and Dave Crew, and Dave, who has been holding Marco at bay for quite some time. The gap was there and thereabout at half a second. But Marco goes for the inside line. Dave holds it round the outside, which turns to the inside. But the corner allows Marco to just hang it round the outside. Maybe it shifts down the inside. He cannot do that as Dave just takes the racing line. And beautifully heard from Dave Crew there. Did not give Marco any big opportunities to make moves. And a side-by-side action currently, Jack Alexander taking another position on his way back towards the top of the field. Still has the inside line, but the preferred line of the outside was there for Audi. Right now, can he just swing it around? Maybe stick his nose down the inside. He is there. Audi leaves him the room. But just the next section of the corners is on the hand for Audi, and he manages to stay in there. Keeps his P13. Jack will have to go back to the drawing board and think of something different. If you look from the rear wing, you can see that Alexander taking different lines and Audi goes into the pit lane. That releases Jack Alexander, who is now free to explore and chase now Liam Dance. Oh, quite an eventful race right now, wouldn't you say, Porsche? As we have a small train of 3 cars currently between Marco British and Rick Binnersley.
Yeah, I mean, this race is very entertaining. I'm just watching it now. Binnersley is spectating this battle as they see British and Marco having a good little jostle with each other. I don't even know this circuit too well, I can't lie, but I've never seen Ohio before, I can't lie. Let me have a look at this circuit. Mid-Ohio. Let's have a look, fellas. But yeah.
But these three keeping really closely together. Rick is trying to find a way around British. It looks like British was on the attack, but right now he has to defend as much as he can. It looks like Rick has managed to hang it around the outside into the final corner, but can he stay on the outside also for the first corner? It will be hard to do, but if he can do that, he will have more flowing line and thus maybe more speed going into the hairpin. Now he has the inside line and can just take it there, take the position away from British. On the brakes, there go side by side, still through the hairpin. Right now Rick is just trying to ease him slightly onto the curb. But still they go side by side, drag race on the straightaway. Through the kink we go. And looks like British even has slightly more speed than Binersley. Binersley will have to stay on the inside, which will turn to the outside, but we see many drivers just being able to swing it around here. And maintain more speed through the corner now. Inside for the next right-hander will be for Rick Binersley. And he manages to clear finally BGB British, and he can set sail on forwards to Marco. But now British had one fight on his hands, and now he will have to face off with Audi. And I just noticed that Jake Moore for some reason has fallen down from the lead into P4.
Yeah.
And I have...
Yeah, Clive, is it Clive Brennan that's took the lead?
No idea what happened to Jake. My best guess, he made a mistake somewhere.
Probably.
As we've seen, yeah, we see many drivers do mistakes today. It looks like the car seems to be an easy, you would say, like small Formula car, like it's not gonna have much power, it's not gonna be much of a trouble. But looks like it is.
I mean, it's a weird car. It's like very understeer at one end, and then it's very oversteery. But it teaches the drivers how to properly drive. Like when they go and hop on back with ACC, they'll probably see, oh yeah, this is how a car should feel like compared to the Tatuus. And as we see, British is pulling out the toe, and he was looking at it, but he's not going on the inside. We're gonna see him casually just trying to make some moves up as we have 2 cars ahead, 2 cars behind. Intense battling going on.
This is a sandwich if you ever see one. Usually you just sandwich between 2 cars, now he's sandwiched between 4 cars. Like, where are you gonna look? Because if he tries to make a move, he's not gonna look and does not go well. He might lose 2 positions in the space of few corners as he goes slightly wide through the final few sections that we have.
The pack is splitting up now. It looks like there's a front 2 and then there's back 3. So it's gonna be separating eventually, but yeah.
But this is something that these Formula cars allow the drivers to do, is just to keep close to each other without the dirty air kicking in too much. As now Rick Binersley is kicked off slightly wide from the hairpin. That just allows British to get that a little bit close. Into the slipstream he goes. No DRS for any of these drivers, no ERS. It's all the right foot that you have and how hard you press the gas pedal. Rick Binersley looks like he pressed on the pedal slightly more. He manages to just out-drag British on the straightaway. Oh, as we currently have many fights going on, also Kieran Prendergast has fallen down from the lead, so looks like lots of mistakes from also the top pack. And Kieran has fallen down to P6.
But yeah, Prendergast has actually fallen down to P6, like you said. Shouldn't be too big of a worry for him, but he can probably gain it in the second race.
small battle pack still keeps fighting on. And looks like all of them are just closing down to Giorgio Minga, so we might get out of 5 cars, even 6 cars battle pack. Depends on how fast can they catch up to him. They have plenty of time. Now down the inside right now, looks like Rick Binnersley is trying to go on a little bit of contact between the drivers, and also behind them Nigel Wood goes for the grass. Binnersley just slightly nudging Audi out of the way, but they managed to keep going and carry on. Maybe slight bit of damage will be on Binnersley's front wing. Let's see, from the back of Minga, going to the few corners, you can already see British in the rear view mirror, definitely. So British will be trying his hardest to get to him, to get into the slipstream as fast as possible and make a move on the Italian. The lone Italian in the sea of British that we have here in the F4 series. Fight going on in front as well, as Dave Crew still with Marco Badowski. They've trying to move into the, let's say, the middle section of the circuit, but we'll have to stay in the slipstream of Marco Badowski and pressure him on elsewhere in other parts of the track. Really close he gets into this left-hander. Badowski runs slightly wider, but shouldn't be much of a problem for him this time around. This next corner just does not allow for any diving moves. Dave Crew will just have to stay behind him and observe for a little while longer. So we take on another lap. Going down into the turn 1, they've taken a little bit of curb on the inside, using as much of the track as he can to get closer and closer to Marco Badowski. Jack Alexander slowly making his moves. They're all the way in the top 10 already right now, as he goes fighting on with Mad Al. He takes the inside line. Mad Al not fighting this one too forcefully. Looks like Alexander did not manage to even get that way alongside, although looks like he managed to get good speed mid-corner through there and swings around the outside of Mad Al. And Al just out of nowhere looked like he closed the door and had it covered, but Alexander just sneaked his way down the inside and managed to get through. Side by side currently it is for Minga and Binnersley as well, as BGB British has managed to get by, and Rick chops off in front of Minga. Does not give him any room to work with at all. And two other hot-headed guys right behind him, Audi and Nigel Wood. They try to make it 3 wide almost, going to the final section of the circuit. Yeah. Nigel Wood. Audi takes the inside. And beautifully down the inside, and now Nigel Wood will be the next man. With Minga on his target list, will go take the inside line into turn 1. Let's see if he can stay there. Not alongside yet, but Minga will have to leave the door slightly open just to be slightly careful around. Let's see if Nigel Wood can just sneak around into the inside, into hairpin under the brakes. Nice move from Wood. And I guess the battle pack can just continue and live on.
Well, I have to admit, some of this circuit does remind me of Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen is an amazing track to race around. But yeah, well, the S section here, I'll point out when we get to it, but it looks amazing, these cars.
Definitely looks like fun and enjoyment.
Yeah, this is the F section. That looks a little bit like Watkins Glen.
I don't know to which part I would compare it to. Oh, slightly wide. There is Zvonimir Burek trying to defend from RWB pinpoint, and let's see who has the balls for this section. It is past almost flat out corner. And pinpoint beautifully hangs it around the outside. Burek has to get out of the... Oh, he had to get out of the gas pedal. You know, to not clip pinpoint on the outside. And also, Liam Dams almost thought about sticking the nose down the inside into the final two corners. But Burek just closed the door and said one big no, you're not getting past through here. Slightly off track onto the grass goes Burek, but he manages to keep up his speed. Liam Dams just wiggling the steering, maybe trying to show himself in the rearview mirrors as pinpoint now goes wide. That allows Burek to get through again. And back into the status quo that we left before on the last lap. Changed throughout the lap. We are back to where we were again before. Now pinpoint has the inside line over Burek. Burek decides to just keep it around the outside, and we saw that the outside for this corner can be beneficial. But pinpoint just manages to get in there under the brakes and leaves Burek behind him as he goes slightly wiggly on the exit. This gives the outside to Dams. He cannot stay there for this corner, and definitely next session would be beneficial to Burek. So you see them carrying on. Madal, pinpoint, starting to make a little bit of gap as he can go slightly wider through this section, but with how these corners flow, you can take different lines and still maybe not lose time or even gain time depending on who are you chasing or who are you fighting. As we see someone again going through the pit lane. Oh, and wide, that is too wide now for Burek, and that is just gonna allow Dams to slowly move himself through. And that's a gain position.
Well, folks, right now we're viewing Dave Crew, which is currently battling with Badowski, looking for that P4 spot just outside the podium places. Ahead of him is Prendergast, which is just slowly falling behind. But looks like, can we just quickly go to Jake Moore and Clive Brennan? Is there a battle there?
No, Jake is currently 10 seconds up in front of Clive Britton, so
yeah,
he's doing rather well, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, at one point he was in P4 halfway through this race. But look where he is now.
I know, seems like they are going for mandatory pit stop, but on the sign up it says no mandatory pit stop, so I am quite confused on what is going on. I guess I will have to be slightly enlightened after the event. But these two have been together for the entire race, Marco Badowski and Dave Crew, within a second of each other. And Badowski currently holding the P4 in front of Crew. But Dave definitely is trying to look for any way around the German driver. I think different lines you can see through the hairpin. But Dave Crew still managing to stay in the slipstream. Marco Badowski, unless maybe he can size up a move into the right-hander coming up. Badowski covers the inside line. Dave Crew has to take to the outside, see if he can maybe swing around there on the brakes. He goes, but just runs slightly wide, and Badowski keeps the position. And these three still locked in an eternal fight. It is Nigel Wood and Eric Binnersley trying to go around the outside. Now Binnersley runs slightly deep on the brakes. This allows
contact there as we see a slowdown penalty for whoever knows. I cannot tell on this Discord.
We shall see, but it was a nice move there from Nigel Wood. We have Phil Warley just dropping a few positions there on the outside, probably after a mistake. But Nigel managed to force Rick into braking a little bit late, running wide, and just managed to swing it around the outside through the corner. And Rick had just nothing to answer him with. And all of them are also catching up to Dirk Gretschel, who we have not seen of much throughout this race. Looks like he had this aforementioned slowdown penalty or something of the kind. He's lost positions to all of these. And right now it is Nigel Wood in front of Rick Binnersley, trying to stay in there for the final few laps. And if he can, maybe make a little bit of gap for him. But still, this eternal fight. Dave Crew getting slightly wild on the curbing. The car slightly fishtailing, but he managed to get it up. Still stay really close to Marco Badowski, just showing the nose down the inside, trying to make Marco nervous and make him think about Dave slightly more than about the corners that are in front of him. Maybe Dave is just hiding something for the final laps. Maybe trying to get Marco on the final lap, so there is no way that he could repass him at any point. And we shall see how this fight finishes off. Slightly off the apex there for Marco, but he manages to get back towards it on the exit of the corner that allows him to get on the power slightly earlier, although keeps him vulnerable through the mid-corner. Let's see, Dave. Can he get any closer? Can he get into position to have a surprise attack? He chooses the inside for the right-hander. Just not alongside, not close enough to make any attempt. As both of them seem to be catching up to... Well, definitely catching up to... Yeah... that would be lap traffic in front of them.
Yeah, Dave Crew seems to be trying to do every move he can to get past Badowski, following so closely behind, bumper to bumper. Not quite yet, spoiler to spoiler, but nearly. As we just see a car go off ahead. Is it Prendergast that is now in this fight?
That would be Minga probably. Going lap down to both of these.
Is it? Ah, okay. Yeah, what's happened to Minga? Did he have a problem or something? He's up in the quickest in the LETT Cup. But he was still showing some decent pace, just some unfortunate events.
Probably just unfortunate events right now, or maybe the car not suiting his driving style right now.
Yeah, I mean, this car is a little bit hard to drive.
The question, does the race end on a time, or is there extra lap after we are finished?
No. So, basically, it's when the leaders cross the line.
Okay, so we are... So Jake Moore currently is coming towards the checkered flag. And it was a great performance from him, 10 seconds in front of Clive Brittain. He only lost the lead slightly after the start.
And Jake Moore has won the first race of the Tatuus F4 at Mid-Ohio. Coming up second is Clive Brennan, 10 seconds behind, followed by Prendergast and the German of, I cannot quite tell what it is, let me have a quick look. The German of Badowski. After that, it's Crew and Rigel, followed by Maz, and 8th in Alexander, which I expected to be up near the front, but he seems to have dropped back. Nigel Wood in P9 and P10 is Rick Binnersley, rounding off your top 10. Starting the double digits, over on is RWB Audi, followed by Peter Varley, and Dirk Gretschel. Also in that pack is John D, as well as Mad Al, I believe, and Pinners, who for some reason decided to turn up to this one and not at the endurance event. But yeah, Pinners has done a good job in staying in P16, and now in P17 is Dams, followed by P18 Flack and British. Rounding out your top 20 is Marco and Charger in P21.
Oh.
Well, folks, I'm gonna have to head off because I'm not feeling too well, and I've just done a 6-hour. But I'm sure to catch you all soon in the next commentating event possible.
Alright. Get better and see you in another event.
Yeah, I should see you soon.
Well, what a race it was, as we get a slightly bit of time to cool down, then we get something to snack a little bit on again. Definitely race packed with lots of events, and you could say the result that we slightly expected from Jake Moore, picking up from the race winning ways. As would be expected from a Racing Sim Tools esports driver. Speaking of Racing Sim Tools, if you have the time and you're looking for setups for ACC and great tool for managing your pit stops in endurance races in ACC and other different racing sims, just make sure you head out to racingsimtools.com, see what they have to offer. Also, if you take sim racing seriously, make sure you check out other of our partners, be it SimSock, the perfect stocks for best grip you can have on your racing pedals, and other of our partners.
Looks like we got about 3 minutes until we can get back into the server here.
Why?
RaceRoom kicks out the spectator between sessions.
Is the audio off?
No.
Okay. Well, we are back after a short break for the, well, 2 minutes of the warm-up before race 1. Final few minutes for the drivers to think about what they have done in the first race and what worked, what did not work, what they maybe need to avoid and what they can do better. A few of them just going out to maybe gain some little bit of experience or just to simply drive around. Well, when the preparation is done, onto the start line we go for the second race. Let's see if Jake Moore will be able to keep up his performance from race 1 or if someone maybe will be able to challenge him slightly more. So Prendergast was able to get into the lead for a short while, but it did not last long after an error he made. Or did Jake Moore learn from the start of that race and really just blitz off into the lead? Is always up to us to see. Lights go on the second race. And the cars are moving. We are racing again in Mid-Ohio. This time around, it's a good start from Jake Moore. He keeps his P1 going into turn 1, unchallenged by anyone, but now it will be fight between Kieran Prendergast and Clive Brittain. Going into the turn 2, into the hairpin we go. Prendergast managing to keep it in front of Brittain. But side by side fighting, it is behind them for all the positions. Dave Crew and Marco Badowski fighting off yet again. They've been together for the first race. Looks like they're going to be together for the second race, and now they also have an RWB rider for the company. Side by side behind them it is Maz and Rick Binnersley for P5 and 6. Now Marco Badowski still goes around the outside of Dave Crew. We have a big crash behind that looks to be Maz. A little bit of contact here between Crew and Badowski. Badowski slides around, gets it up, but loses a lot of position in the process with all of that. Was it Maz that I saw in the collisions? Yeah, looks to be Maz and also RWB Marco that was in the collisions in the background. Looks like Rick Binnersley now attacking RWB Raja going into the final section of the circuit. Penultimate corner taking ages for the car to just roll through. And after lap 1 looks to be all clear for Jake Moore to just keep going as hard as he did in race 1, or the second up in front of Kieran Prendergast. Like Britain being really close to him, just looking down the inside, no opportunities for him yet. But the fighting is intense here in the pack, so we could slightly see Rigel getting all shaky on the exit of the corner. That gives a chance for Rick Binnersley to get down the inside as we go through the kink. Rick will have the inside line for the right hander. Let's see if he can stay there. Looks like he can, although Dave Crew Rigel tries to hang it and sneak down the inside, but Rick just had too much of overlap, was in front by enough. That allows him to stay. Now we can set off onto Dave Crew, who has been fighting off with Marko Bonowski for the entirety. Oh, well, maybe I was a little bit too early as Binnersley gets all sideways coming out of the corner. And this gives a chance back to Rigel to get down the inside. Let's see side by side through the final corners, and you can also see Jack Alexander looking onto them, trying to find an opportunity if both of them were to put the car in the wrong place. And Alexander just getting slightly on the exit, the car pointing towards the barriers, manages to gather it up. He'll have to regain all the positions that he lost yet again. Sparks go flying as what looks to be Phil Varley going over the curbs. Marko Bonowski on the defense. Phil trying to go around the outside through the hairpin for no whale. That allows him to get slightly better exit, slightly more speed onto the straightaway. As we go, there's also fighting off between Clive Britain and Kieran Prendergast. Britain has to stay behind for the time being. Also, Binnersley and Rigel at it. Rigel still behind Binnersley. But off we go. Rigel will have to currently stay behind and attack at another given opportunity where Rick will just leave the door open. Fighting on going also in the background, and looks like we have lost Jack Alexander after his spin on a lap before. For the start of lap 1, he probably just does not feel it today. Decided to retire the car. It's down the inside now goes. Oh, really close that was for Giorgio Mina on RWB Charger. Mina right down the inside, which slowed him down in the end and allows RWB Marko to get alongside with him. On the outside into the into the hairpin, not happening this time around. Prendergast defending as hard as he can from Clive Britain, something we have seen in the race 1. Prendergast keeps the second position as of now, as Jake Moore is just running away with the P1 for this race at least. With John D. Through the middle sector, we can see Steve Maas just going onto the curb, bottoming the car out, and he could get no power onto there at that point as the wheels just lifted off away from the track. And as you know, the car only goes fast if your wheels are connected to the circuit with some degree. Air does not provide as much force or as much grip as the tarmac does. I mean, it's the magical words of the racing, keep it on a black stuff. managing to stay on the track, we have a high chance of at least finishing in a good positions. Back to the fighting we go. Clive retain it again on the back wing of Prendergast. Onto the brakes, they go around the outside, goes retain. Tries to keep the car there, but Prendergast just shuts the door. It allows Dave Crew to get closer to them and make this a three-man fight. Prendergast defending as hard as he can. And definitely 40 minutes, or let's say the half an hour that we have remaining in this race. That's a long time for them to fight, as you see Rigel going side by side with Veloci Winnersley. Winnersley trying to find his way around Rigel, jumping over the curb, and it looks like maybe a little bit of contact between him and Winnersley. The car definitely not doing what a Formula car is supposed to do. And he manages to stay in front for the current situation. A beautiful fight it is between those two. An even greater fight between these three for the podium positions it is. Back to where we left off lap ago. Retain in the slipstream of Prendergast. See, Prendergast will defend probably down the inside it again, unless Clive tries any late moves. Goes to the inside, goes to the outside, but Prendergast just puts his car in all of the correct positions, not allowing to retain any kind of avenue to get at least alongside. It is a great defense from the British man onto the Irish. Side by side it is between John D and Steve Maz. Steve that we saw losing the car, losing all of the grip over the curb, and just allowing John D to slip by. Steve is trying to regain what was lost laps before. Getting slightly out of the shape through the left-hander, definitely fast corner, you want to carry as much speed as possible. But with the low downforce that these cars have, it is easy to just overcook it through there and overdo the grip that the tires give you. It is definitely a car you want to slide slightly to get more speed out of it. But if you slide too much, the tires will definitely not be happy with that. Now from the rear wing of Prendergast we look again. Clive Retain just sneaking down towards the inside. Around the outside he tries to go. A little bit of contact between them, what it seemed like, but now that allows Dave Crew to have a sniff on Retain. And we remain in the positions. You can see the pressure is mounting lap by lap onto Kieran Prendergast, but definitely also on Clive, as Dave Crew is just menacingly in the rearview mirrors. It is a really unpleasant situation that Britain finds himself in, because if he fails an attack, it can clearly turn into defense, as now it will have to be for Prendergast as he goes wide. Slightly bit of tapping between him and Britain, even a little bit more contact between both of the drivers, so side-swiping there from Prendergast. As he tries to defend as hard as he can, Britain had to take onto the grass for the final corner. Prendergast keeps the second position as he goes down side by side with Dave Crew. Manages to keep it for the second place, and that is also now allowed Rigel and Winnersley to close down onto these guys. And what was just a three-man fight now turns into fight of, well, almost half of the top 10, if not even more cars currently in this big train. And all of that just because Prendergast ran slightly wide onto the grass. Had to defend as hard as he could. Some would say that maybe even too hard for the Formula cars that will be up probably for the post-race stewards and also the drivers to get through, as it is preferred for drivers to just manage to settle it between themselves. If you know that there is any wrongdoing, it is the ethos of the club to apologize for any wrongdoing if you think you've done something, maybe return the position, but no positions were given as of now. That is for after the race. Kieran Prendergast currently in second place. Dave Crew definitely looks on pace, trying to find a way around. And also Britain, after what was lost behind Rigel, under attack from Rick Binnersley. Just look at this big train of the cars that is spanning, well, from P2 what looks to be all the way down to P10. Meanwhile, in all of that, Jake Morris just jumped away 10.5 seconds in front of these guys. He's just having a field day, just driving around, perfecting all of the corners. And back we go, onto the straightaway. Little bit of jumping around from Rigel there. Seems like everyone is currently stabilized in the positions. Britain slightly looking down the inside of Rigel. Just trying to put pressure on, trying to force a mistake. He managed to force one mistake from Prendergast. That was slightly wide for Dave Crew. All of this is just gonna allow the driver behind to get closer. And you just get the domino effect of one getting closer to each other, but nobody managing to make any moves. See from the rear wing of Kieran. You can see just all of the cars looking menacingly onto him. And it is hard position to be, definitely. So you have more and more fighting behind, side by side, at least for Audi and Phil Varley. Audi staying where he is right now. More fighting is going on in the background. On board we go with Clive Britain, just following what was his position before, and definitely slightly, not angry, but slightly upset of what has happened, wanting to return to his positions. Well, dropping 2, it will be a tough task to climb up back into P3, or maybe even into P2, depends on how everyone in front of him is gonna behave and how everyone is gonna get on with this race. We can see Crew just pressuring Prendergast as much as he can, getting really close. But the pack just still continues in the order they started a few laps ago. And right now it is just one giant slipstream battle between everyone apart from the leader, that is Kieran. And into the pit lane we can see Dave Crew pitting off. Now a good run for Clive Britain onto Rigel. Rigel getting slightly washed into the final corner, having to take shallow line. Britain takes the inside line, and with that also takes the position. And back into P3 he goes. And now under attack back from Rigel, will not want to give that position so easily. He'll have to maybe crisscross and get a better line, do the all switcheroo. Out of the hairpin we go, and down the in the slipstream under the rear wing is Rigel. Retain defense to the inside. Rigel will have the outside line, which is slightly better for the speed, but is not alongside enough to even attempt to move. Have to stay behind Britain. But so they then also look behind him, because Rick Binnersley is looming in the background and will definitely pounce on any opportunity, any wrong foot that's gonna be from Rigel. SVE gets really sideways through there, as you can see. That just allows Rick to get slightly closer into the slipstream and just pulls Rigel slightly away from the slipstream. You know how wide he goes through that section. Yeah, just a missed braking point, and that just allows Rick Binnersley to get through. A simple mistake of just missing your braking point. And off he goes. And our next one in the line will definitely be Phil Warley. Looks like the fighting has settled slightly as the train is, well, as much as all of them were so close to each other, looks like the gaps have slightly spread amongst the drivers. Looks like everyone is starting to find a little bit of footing and getting settled into the rhythm, although setting into the rhythm, vigorously taking the Tony Hawk Pro Skater move yet again, similar to what was Matt's few laps before, and losing position back to RWB Rigel, so we will have to go back to the drawing board and repass Rigel, as we have Dirk Gretschel is chasing right now RWB Pinpoint, and Pinpoint goes for the same move. I'm not sure that is the faster way around, but I guess if the drivers find it somewhat entertaining, then probably scraping the floor slightly, getting rid of some of the weight is on the cards. And back we go. The fight for second place as if nothing had happened. Clive Brittain and Kieran Prendergast at it yet again. Only after a little bit of contact and a lot more fighting with other drivers. Clive Brittain definitely having more pace than Prendergast, and he's just not fast enough in the correct places compared to his British rival. Well, Marco is just, or Jake Moore is just created even more and more of a lead. Currently sitting at 15 seconds, so we definitely can just stop at the side of the track, get some tea and biscuits, get back to it and still come out in the lead. It's really close between these two. Prendergast still holding up Brittain. And then just showing him the nose down the inside into the hairpin, forcing him to brake later, take the shallower line. We have RW Charger defending as much as he can from the Gretschel. Charger currently finding himself in P12, which is a great position for the man. It's like Gretschel is poised and wants to take that position away from him. Also fighting going on behind them. As Pinpoint is trying his hardest to keep Steve Maas behind him, Maas again going over the curb. And you can just see that these cars do not like the curbs at all. Like, as they are really low down, probably the lowest out of all of the Formula categories. Just takes only a little bit of the curve to bottom out and you lose all of the drive. At that point just have to hope, oh, that looked like a little bit of contact from Gretschel onto Charger. Or at least it got really close between these two. So you look from the rear wing of the orange machine that is Charger's F4. Yeah, Gretschel is close, but also Pinpoint looks to be even closer and closer. Looks like Gretschel we have to slowly start to change from offense to defense. And also you can't discount Steve Maas. He's just looking onto all of these cars in front of him, looking like, if I play my cards right, I might gain free. If you don't play your cards right, you might just lose all of it. as the wise words go, or slightly wider for pinpoint. The wise words of the man. The one who gives it all might lose it all. The one who does not give anything might not get anything. Now, there is a mistake from pinpoint though. Spinning around on the braking, what seems like, and that releases mass onto Gretschel. Now still not close enough, just slightly getting closer and closer in the slipstream onto RWB Charger. Maybe we'll just try different move, trying to crisscross the lines to get on a power that slightly bit earlier, forcing Charger into any compromising lines that he would take, forcing him into any mistake. Charger making sure that the car stays pointing in the right direction, does not take more curb than necessary, just keeps the Gretschel at bay. See, oh, Gretschel can say slightly getting desperate maybe, although Charger was slightly wide, but the natural line of the corner brings him back on towards the apex. Yeah, Gretschel definitely getting slightly impatient. We're seeing car behind him finding himself in the sandwich. He wants to at least get in front of Charger as he can and then have Charger deal with Maz. Maybe create a little bit of gap on the car. At this point he just has to stay behind the orange car, look onto the diffuser, look on the wing. Maybe mount a chance, let's see, this looks like slightly better exit for Gretschel. Slowly gaining on Charger on the straightaway through the King. Let's see, Charger defends the inside line, Gretschel will have the outside to tackle. He goes later onto the brakes. He'll be able to swing it around the outside. This will leave the inside line or the outside for Charger, but slightly bit of contact unsettles the car. And well done move from Gretschel it is. Up into P12 and now it is up to Maz to deal with Charger. The fight in the lead has slightly calmed down. Clive Brittain still behind Kieran Prendergast, only about half a second between them. It's like Brittain just takes that little bit of breather right now. Maybe attack in the final parts of the race. Matt also there getting really close to the rear wing of Charger. And more fighting going on for the positions inside of the top 5. With it being RWB Rigel and Rick Binnersley going at it as hard as they can. Rigel holding on to the P4, Binnersley with P5, but they cannot get too carried on with the fighting, as Phil Varley is closely behind, and I think he's just getting closer and closer with every corner. And sooner or later they will have Phil to tackle into or add into the equation as well. As you look on, and Steve Maz has managed to get past Charger the same way as Dirk Gretschel has. So Charger not doing good work for Gretschel. Meanwhile also Clive Brittain, no, Jake Moore has lost the lead. I swear to God they are going to the pit lane for a pit stop or something. Even though it says there's no pit stop mandatory, but that's what I'm gonna go with. As the fights continue. So let's see, Rick Binnersley, RWB Rigel, and Phil Varley this. It's a close fight still. Currently, well, this fight for the lead between Prendergast and Brittain. Let's see how they handle this one. See what this trio does. Phil Varley looks much faster than both of the cars in front of him. Thinking of maybe making a move at some point, but these will have to resolve this between themselves. Rigel on the inside of Oh, very vigorously. Hendrik manages to get around there, around the outside, and oh, both of them dive for the pit lane, Rigel and Phil Varley. Looks like a late call from Phil. Yeah, they're going to the pit lanes. Maybe trying the strategical move to get through. Now around the outside, it is Clive Britain fight for next second place. Oh, even more contact between both of them. And I think Britain is starting to get a little bit angry with Prendergast. There was a collision before. More rubbing between both of them. I think Britain might start to get a bit creative. Definitely gloves are off between these two. Let's see what it is between them. Britain tries to go around the outside, that switches for the inside. Here they go. Prendergast manages to swing it around the outside, which turns into the inside line. Britain still is behind, but he is getting dangerously close. Prendergast slides slightly through those corners. Let's see, he manages to still stay ahead of Britain. Now they have the former leader Jake Moore behind them. Let's see if that also creates some problems for both of them. So yeah, both of them also entered the pit lane at the same time with just 12 minutes remaining. Maybe it would have been better for Britain to maybe try and make more strategical move, make a move at some point. Maybe just stay outside as they go. The short pit stop for Britain, and that looks like Prendergast is still stationary. Yes, he is. And Britain has managed to get by on the strategy in the end. Yeah. It is Clive Britain taking the next second place away from Kieran Prendergast. And now let's see if Prendergast can get closer to Britain. The gap has rose to around 2-3 seconds. But back we go into Battle Pack that has managed to establish itself on the outskirts of top 10. Audi, Bennersley, Rigel, Badowski, Varley. 5 cars we have, and you could throw a blanket over all of them. And this RWB Audi currently leading this pack with Rick Bennersley closely behind him. With very similar colored cars between both of them. And also we have Badowski and Varley going side by side behind them. So Badowski takes the inside line for this corner, but oh no, it's my bad, that would be Rigel. Oh, that is Badowski and Varley. Indeed. Badowski managing to stay ahead of Phil Varley. And Phil looks like he's on the pace right now. The slipstream train continues. Everyone just stuck down under the rear wing of each other, trying to gain as much as they can on the straight parts of the circuit. Currently nobody is in a great position for attack, but it just takes that small mistake from the car in front that will bunch everyone back together. But Audi currently looking alright. Does not seem to be making any mistakes that would open the door or at least give an invitation for attack to anyone. As we have another retirement that seems to be Nigel Wood. For some reason or... No. He keeps carrying on, although the graphic showed him as retirement, as it looks to be also Liam Dams. scattering across the circuits, providing his lawn-mowing services to the circuit of Mid-Ohio. It is now side by side for Rick Binosley and RWB Rigel. Rigel on the outside for the hairpin, but I'd grant him that little bit of more acceleration on the exit of the corner. As here we go, onto the straight again, a straight with a small kink in the middle of it. Rigel on the left hand side, Rick having the inside line for the next corner. Let's see if Rigel will go around the outside. It is really possible to just stick the nose down there, but now Binosley on the outside, which will turn back to the inside, and Rigel just has to stay behind. Maybe try a different line, gain more on the exit, but there's currently just no way getting past Rick Binosley. And also Marko Badowski is looking onto it like maybe there would be something to gain. It's always hard to also play the third man, because you just might see an opportunity, might see the open door, but when you stick your nose down there, the car in front, slightly twitchy. It is for Rigel there. Now really close is Phil Varley under the rear. Marko Badowski's slipstream is definitely effective, but you could see Phil just getting out of the gas on the straight, does not want to get any closer than he was at that point. He just cannot get into a position that would yield him any overtakes, or rather get out of it and maybe try again, maybe force an error. And it's not easy to be the guy behind, because if there is an open door and the car in front is focusing on the car in front of him as well, so you are just there hoping that if he leaves the door open, he's gonna notice that you are there. Otherwise it might be a little bit of alteration, but change of positions was almost possible. But we see also Kieran Prendergast on the grass there, and it is a disaster for the man who was at some point in P2. Well, for the past few laps was in the last podium positions, and now that has gone down to Dave Crew. And that's a weird mistake from Prendergast, who now finds himself at the back of this pack, almost on the outskirts of the top 10. Also has to put up a defense now, as Nigel Wood is directly behind him. Wood has to slightly poke and prod and see where there will be opportunity. He stays in the P10. Now from the rear wing over Rick Binosley we look. You can clearly see Rigel there just trying to make amends of it right now, make a sense and find an opportunity. He's still the same, having to attack and defend in once. Not the easiest job. That looked slightly wide from Rick Binosley. And side by side we go. And that looks to be RWB. Something has definitely happened to RWB Audi, as Rick has caught him up somewhat. I have no idea how did he get so close to Audi right now, but well, here he is. And look how close these two are. And do not get the mix, even though the cars are the same. Definitely these two are fighting each for their own. Now they somehow manages to find himself in the fights for the top 5, even though he was securely in P4. Now it is the P4 under attack. Yeah, and the train that we had at the start of the race looks like it is back in the station being over Mid-Ohio sports car course. Audi going wide, losing lots of momentum from the first turn. Covers the inside line, but Binosley will try to hang it around the outside, stay on the outside and maybe get there by the exit, out of the corner. Better run onto the straight, but someone who is also trying to get better run is RWB Rigel. And Marko Badowski currently on the right hand side, and Binosley has managed to make it. A beautiful move around the outside and finished it off on the straight. Now let's see, back on the attack is Audi, but also Badowski. Badowski having the inside line, going through this section, turns to the outside. See if he can hang the car around there, can he swing it, keep the acceleration going. And now just squeeze out RWB Rigel, he manages to. And this also invites Phil Wiley into the party. I'll just aim to maybe sneak his nose down the inside. But instead of that, he's gonna lose out position to Nigel Wood, and if he's not careful, also Kieran Prendergast. He's trying to recover as much as he can at this point, after the mistake that has happened before. And really close fighting it is between all of these. Using as much of the track as they possibly can, without losing any second, any tenth of the second. Prendergast, braking slightly late into turn 1, maybe trying to get deeper line or maybe slightly more flowing line, carrying more speed, but it just makes the car oversteer, and you could see just all of the grip from the tires fade away. Luckily he managed to get it up and not lose much time. Definitely a scary moment for him as the car started to look slightly out of control. Back we go into Audi. What looked to be comfortable P4. Now it's gonna be a fight to even stay in the top 5. Badowski tries to go around the outside, it again from the section, but overcooks the corner, but has to take to the grass. Maybe slightly a little bit optimistic move there from Marco Badowski onto Audi, maybe pushing too hard, too late. Now falling down, looks like losing positions down to P9. Somehow managing to stay in front of Kieran Prendergast also, although he is definitely gonna be seeing Badowski made a mistake. Let's maybe pressure and make him do another one. So we still have 2 laps to go for looks like on the timing board. Let's see, final 2 laps, final chances to think of something to maybe get a better run, to get through the sections. Even the slightly wider line does not scare Rigel. When the Nigel gets closer, Rigel gets the power down slightly earlier. It just allows him to stay in front on the straights. This is the last push that you can make. Also, in front of them, Audi keeping up with RWB Rick Binnersley. Looks to be fine for now. Nigel tries any different line that he can find. Anything that he can do to get at least closer to scare Rigel. So we slowly and surely make our way onto the final lap of this race 2. And close it is also between the 2 cars in front. Audi trying to reclaim what was once lost can be once regained. Let's see if the Norwegian has enough in the tank to mount an attack and maybe regain the position back from Rick Binnersley. So Nigel Wood trying as hard as he can to get the line through to 1. You could see Rigel getting slightly off, away from the apex car whiff there. Just no way around currently for Nigel Wood. It looks to me like the positions are settled right now. Phil Warley still there, still goes to Nigel Wood, so this might not be over yet. Phil might get the one last chance into the right-hander in front of him. But maybe just tries to brake as late as he can. Just has to stay where he is. But it is Jake Moore taking the second win of the evening. A beautiful performance from the man. Took the lead on the start. Well, took the lead. Kept the lead on the start. And just drew away and did not look back at any given point. See Cliff Brittain second place. Really happy, as you can see him going across the line. As definitely will be also Dave Crew taking his podium, first podium of the night. And this giant train coming across the line of Rick Bennesley, Audi, Nigel Wood, Bill Varley, Marco Badowski, all of them getting across the line within a second of each other. Kieran Prendergast definitely will be slightly unhappy after this result. Definitely was hoping for at least the podium. After the start, Madal finishing in P11, followed by Doug Gretschel, Steve Mass, RWB Pinpoint taking the checkered flag. John D slowly but surely making his way across the final corner to finish in P15. Also coming towards it, RWB flag. And fighting going on between Giorgio Mina and RWB Charger. Mina managing to keep the P17. Oh, there is slightly bit of contact between both of them. Charger looked like he tried to sneak down the inside of Mina, but he did not manage to really take the position. And behind them, last finishers RW Marco and Liam Dams, and sadly we lost DGB British and Zvonimir Burek at some point during this race. And what a race it was! Eventful throughout its entirety. Yes, I will definitely have to get a drink after watching this. And definitely great racing between all of them. Let's see if I might be able to snatch someone to have a talk with. Let me see if maybe I can get it. Why can't... Hello, Jake!
Hello.
Wait, can you not be fast?
Sorry, was it too slow, that race?
Did you not read the script? It was supposed to be fight between the top three all the time.
No, I didn't get that memo.
But how was the race? It looked like you were in control all the time.
The first race, I was a bit nervous at the start. I've not done a sprint style league race for a while, so I was a bit nervous. But the first stint in the second race, I was literally on it, like a carb on it. It was literally every lap was pretty much fastest lap. And I think that the other podium guys were just battling a bit too much and just allowed me to get that lead. And when I came out of the pits and saw that I was right behind second and third, I just like cruise around for the rest of the race, not trying to put the car in the wall type thing.
And how did you find the car? From someone I heard before that it's quite slidey.
It's really nice, but slidey if you try to push too hard, like really aggressive, like late braking, flick it into the corner style. You almost like need to like brake a little bit early and settle it and like try and like power through the corner and not use too much steering lock.
But dominant wins in race 1, race 2. Is this something we can be looking forward in the season?
I think the other guys are quick, and I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's just it's one of my favourite tracks, so I think I just looked out today. But I think the rest of the championship's going to be hard fought.
We definitely hope so. I'll be throwing you back towards the guys to have a little bit of after race banter.
Alright, thanks for the commentary.
Oh, we have someone waiting.
Quite often.
Hello, Kieran.
Hello, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. What a race 2 that was.
Yeah, it was insane. Really close racing. First and second race as well, but it was good fun. First time on RaceRoom doing like proper league racing as well. I ain't played RaceRoom in like months as well. I hardly play it. I'm more of an ACC guy, so it was good fun. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
And we saw you fighting with Clive British for most of the race, him being on your back. And I'm not gonna lie, we saw a little bit of elbows starting to be wide at some point. How did you find that?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard, but it was fair racing. I mean, there were a couple times where, obviously I'm getting used to the braking on this game, and obviously if you brake too late on this, then what it does is it just spits you out. And obviously I was trying to modulate the brake so it didn't cause a big crash at the time, sort of going in towards the second to last corner. But yeah, it was, it was definitely elbows out the first and second race, to be honest, but a bit unlucky with the pit strategy. It is a learning curve for me, but yeah, it was good fun.
And we saw you quite okay for the most part of the second race after the pit stops, but what happened later? Because I just saw you somewhere in the weeds after being in like P3.
So I think it was like 5 minutes left to go. Obviously, when I saw Britain get out in front of me, I really wanted to get past and catch him up as well, because it felt like I was a bit quicker in certain sections and stuff, and I was starting to just find my mojo a bit. When it clicked down too much on the brake bias, and ultimately paid the price by getting spat out and losing all those positions and stuff. But yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah, but we saw Jake Moore just lock out in both of the races tonight. And he said he maybe have lucked out a little bit in this one, as Mid-Ohio is one of his favorite tracks. Do you think you guys can mount him a little bit of challenge going towards the next race in Assen and for the rest of the season?
Is this Jake Moore you're on about?
Yeah.
So obviously, I learned the track today. I've never ever raced around Mid-Ohio before, so hopefully tracks that I'm more familiar with, I can give him a bit more of a challenge and stuff, and make sure that he's not running away with it 20 seconds down the road and stuff. So yeah, I'll make sure that the next race I'll bring my A game a bit more better than today, and yeah, we'll go from there.
Right, and how are you finding the Tatuus F4 compared to the GT3s?
It's very different. A different kind of ball game. Obviously, where you're so used to like ABS, and I think these cars have traction control. I'm not too sure, but it's a whole different kind of driving style as well. And it's the challenge that I enjoy, and I've taken the challenge because I love open wheelers as well. So yeah, it is a bit different to your normal ACC races and stuff, but yeah, I'm getting used to it.
Right. Thank you very much for giving the insights, and I'll be throwing you back to the guys for some chat.
Thank you.
Well, that was it for the first event of the Formula RWB. It was pleasure commentating for you and pleasure watching the race. And we shall be seeing you next week, at the same time for round 2 at Circuit Assen.